Hello. I'm starting early because I know Larissa is already here, so I'm not no I won't be alone here. So I'm already gonna indicate to you guys that I am not gonna do this like the 2 hours of reading across 3 hours time because then I would go over midnight, which I don't like. So I will just start now already. But I will just do it like I don't know. I don't know whether we want to make these strict sprints or whether we want to just like go with the flow and just read whenever like the chat kind of dies down. You guys tell me what you prefer. I'll get that out of the way, but I do need my coffee. But basically, I've been struggling to read, so I thought, why not host sprints and then I can actually read. Hello, Larissa. Hey, Ewald. Hello, Josephine. Hello, Mika. So happy to see that some people still manage to show up even when I give you like zero notice because I came up with the plan to do these like 10 minutes ago and here we are. So all I basically did for myself was like make myself some coffee, go grab the tripod, go grab the webcam, that's the word for it, and like grab myself some water and stuff like that, and that was it. So yeah, I have been struggling to read all month, and while it's absolutely normal for that to happen in London, I feel like I've kind of lost the groove of it because of how little reading I was doing in London. And now in London, it wasn't necessarily that I was just like doing like tons of stuff, but um it was also like I was just so damn tired. We were walking so many hours, like hours. We were doing so many steps that, when we got back to the hotel room, I was just always so tired that I was like, yeah, I fell asleep all the time. Like, so, yeah, didn't really happen. Denise, I didn't know that she was streaming. I didn't see it then. Like, or was it on a different channel? Is it like her like gaming thing? Because I don't follow that. Because I was like looking for sprints and like I saw some, sure, but I was just not in the mood for them for some reason. And then I was like, you know what? Let me just host some tonight myself because I didn't host them yesterday as I typically did. So might as well just decide to do them now, spur of the moments. Remember when I said I was glad that Sasha changed the date for the live show of the Ninth Rain? I read one chapter since I need to get my ass in gear. I didn't even realize that she changed her so it's like this Saturday, I guess. I mean, I haven't read it, so I will not be reading it. I will be super happy if I can get something done within this book. To be fair, we are around here in the book at this point in time, so we are past the midway points. But I still like if you look at my reading graph for the month of June, like the peaks are at like 40 pages a day or something like that. So yeah, I have not been in a mood to read a lot and I have not been reading. And I kind of want to get to reading because there's so much I want to read this month. So here's hoping that I get some of my mojo back today, because tomorrow I'm going to some friends of mine and I'm still unsure what I'm gonna do because I got it. This plan was made a few weeks ago, and then I got it into my head that I was going to use my bicycle to cycle over there. But it's like 20 kilometers. But I have an electrical bicycle now, so that's fine. But it is now going to be 30 degrees weather. So I'm like stubborn about the fact that I wanted to bicycle there. But on the other hand, I will absolutely die in that heat. So I don't know. Probably tomorrow I'll come to my senses and I'll accept my friend's invitation for her to drive me there. But yeah, I really would like to cycle there. I was just thinking, nobody doing live sprints? Must be football on TV. I mean, if there is, I don't care about that. So I would not be watching anything like that. It was their gaming channel. Okay. I finished on Tuesday, thankfully. You fin Oh, Nine Train, I guess. Hello, having a headache, so probably not staying long. That's absolutely fine. Hope you're gonna feel better soon. Like, take care and, avoid triggers and all of those things to hopefully let it pass quicker. Headaches are a pain. Like, for me, usually it's just a sign of dehydration because I struggle with drinking water. So for me, luckily, there's usually an easy fix. But yeah, when they don't go away, that's when it's really annoying. I had like a lot of back pain all week, but luckily the painkillers really helped with that. I typically don't take painkillers, but now I was like, yeah, I need them. So, because I still wanted to do a ton of crap. When I'm at home, I'm like, fine, I'll just live with this pain. All I'm doing is sitting in my sofa reading a book, in the evening. So I'll manage. But like in London, I was like, no, I still want to do my like 15,000 steps, 20,000 steps a day to get to see everything we wanted to see. So yeah, I needed the painkillers. I'm reading a German romance book. I have 200 pages to go, and I wanted to give it back to the library tomorrow. We shall see if that happens or not. I mean, if you have time tomorrow to read it, it should be doable, potentially. I mean, do you like the book? I have it on my shelf. So far, I read two books and DNF'd one. Very unusual for me. Um, like I like it, but I'm not loving it yet. And I don't know whether that is because of this mood or not. But like I feel like this is the type of narrator that I could love, but for some reason I'm really not loving it right now. It's a type of n- like narrator who always has like a witty comments to say about the situation, or who approaches every scene and every conversation with wits. And while I appreciate the wit, it's not like something about it is not like fully landing for me. And I don't know whether that's just my mood, or whether there is just, I don't know, something in it that's just, maybe I've seen it too much. Maybe it reminds me of things I've read before. I don't know, but so far it's just like, okay, it's a fun ride, but it's nothing exceptional. I'm reading Death of a Bookseller, which is much deeper than expected, and I love to hate one of the main characters. Sometimes it can be really nice to have like a character to hate on. Yeah, headache because of the cold I have. Oh no, haven't slept well the past 2 nights. Now I got some meds though. Okay, hopefully those will help. Yeah, not sleeping is also definitely not helpful. Like, that was the one thing about our hotel room in London. I hated the bed. Like, my friend was fine with it, but I have like my bed is like one of the most expensive pieces in my apartment. Because I have scoliosis, I was like, yeah, I want to invest in a proper bed. So my bed is heaven. So a hotel bed is always going to be inferior, but this one was definitely way too hard for my body, because I really, the first 3 nights I slept on a pillow underneath like my hip, because it hurts to lie on it. My joints were just like hurting from it. I feel better soon. Exactly. Sleep like crap at the moment, too hot, yeah, and I tend to automatically curl into a tight ball, making it even hotter. Stupid body, stop that. Yeah, I mean, I think for when it comes to our sleeping positions and stuff like that, that's just like so subconscious that you just cannot really change that, of course. But yeah, I'm still okay with sleeping in any case. I even still have like the cover inside, like the, do you call it the duvet inside of the cover? So I could still go like with less of a cover on me, less heat on me, but so far I'm okay. But it has been the case that like when I go to work in the morning, I put on like an extra sweater because it's still colder. Then I'm way too warm inside my apartment, because it is already super warm in here. My apartment, that's the biggest negative about my apartment, is that it heats up super quickly and you cannot get the heat back out. So in winter it's perfect because it keeps the heat in winter, so then it's lovely. But in summer, yeah. Well, the friend I'm meeting up with tomorrow for library wants to meet at 9:30, so not much time in the morning either. Yeah. Well, hopefully you can get some reading in now. I didn't set the timer yet because I wasn't going to do it like strict sprints. But since nobody gave a preference, I will kind of like let's say at 50, let's go for a sprint at that point in time. And we'll do the 40 ones, the 40 minutes ones that I typically do. Oof, beds are a struggle when you sleep somewhere else. Yes, I mean it's been worse in Portugal. That was the first time actually where it happened to me, where we slept on a bed and I had to put pillows underneath my hips. It's always that place. Like when when I sleep on my side, after a while, it just feels super, super painful if the bed is too hard. And so that was the first time that it happened. And there it was really like relentless. It was super hard, that bed. And here I felt like after like 4 or 5 days or something, so like the last 2 nights or something, I didn't need the pillow anymore and I could just kind of sleep on the bed itself without feeling the pain. But yeah, I'm just spoiled when it comes to beds now, it seems. I don't know whether this bed spoiled me for beds, whether before I was more used to a more like hard mattress, I guess. But yeah, I love my beds and I'm very, very happy to be back in it. Oh no, I struggle with beds too. Mine is so super soft and I hate sleeping somewhere else. Exactly. And in principle, it's not even that it's like soft, or yeah, I mean the mattress is soft, like it's a wooden board beds, which has like the board set up specifically for my body, so that when I lie on it, like my spine is aligned, um, the way it would be for a normal person. But because of my scoliosis, my spine normally is like curved, of course, and so it's put in a position so that when I'm sleeping, the spine is straight, and so that like decompresses the back a little bit. But then the mattress on top of it is pretty like flexible, let's say, because you need to feel the effect of the plank. So your mattress cannot be hard, or otherwise you won't have an effect of the plank anymore. So hello, Daniela. Hello, Marlene. Happy Friday. Hopping in for some reading. Yes, we will be reading in 2 minutes, so you are right on track. I didn't even know what most of you guys are going to be reading. I know that Josephine, right? You had a German book that you were reading, and Larissa will be reading The Nine Train, and somebody else said their book, I think. Ah, yeah, Death of a Bookseller from Mika. And then I am reading Black Tongue Thief. Tomorrow I won't do anything because it's going to be almost 30 degrees. I know. It was already today. It was horrible. So that's why I'm like, should I actually do that? Because today, just like walking for 5 minutes, I was like, get me out of this heat. Hello, I'll be searching for recipes in my new cookbook, but we'll go to bed soon. Need to work tomorrow. Nice. Hope you find some nice inspiration to cook up for the next coming days. Then I'm reading Ancillary Sword by Anne Leckie. Yeah, heard of it, but have never read anything by them neither. I is reading DC Pride 2023. So it's something DC, but is it like uh because it says 2023, is it like an anthology, or am I getting that wrong? I should be reading A Veiled Throne, but we'll be doing the dishes first and listening to Girls Made of Glass and Snow. Haven't heard of that one. I biked to work this morning, would not recommend. Yeah, I'm considering biking with like my camelback in my backpack so that I can have like the tube that comes out of it to get the water to hydrate while cycling. But even then, I need to wear something like super light that covers stuff, have sunscreen on, which I will then swallow over. So, but I do want to go by bicycle there. But yeah, I will have to cave. I feel like it's an anthology of the queer character that comes out once a year. So, okay, since 2021. No, I'll definitely won't forget the sunscreen. I'm somebody who burns really, really easily. But so let's go for our first sprints. And happy reading, guys. See you in 40. And we're back. I read a decent chunk now. I mean, decent chunk, like some 20-ish pages, I want to say. Not entirely sure. I think I was here, right? So, yeah, almost like 25 or something like that. So, which is a decent chunk considering that's more than I read in some of the days in June so far. So far, this is my biggest page count for the month, but I do definitely still want to do like one more sprint. I think I will only do one more sprint because otherwise we get past the midnight point and I will not be able to function tomorrow. So we'll do a chat a bit now, do another sprint of 40 minutes, and then kind of do a little bit of chatting to round off the sprints. Like because they were so impromptu, I'm sorry that they're not the 3 hours that they usually are, but hoping that it's still something, you know. Uh, that I already read. That I also already read. Hey Natalie. I listened to Ariadne for the last 2 hours and just finished it. Nice. Hope you enjoyed it. Hello, Ralph. Late as always. Well, I mean, it's difficult not to be late when I give you zero warning about when it's gonna happen. I read 27 pages of Ancillary Sword and I'm nearing the halfway point. Nice. Are you enjoying it? Raf clearly enjoyed it. Ancillary Sword is awesome. Yeah, as I said earlier, I don't like I've heard of it, but I haven't never read it or don't actually even know what it is about. So it's not one that is actually on, or maybe because sometimes I put like stuff on my TBR because I hear about it, and then I forget every reason why it was on there. And then sometimes I do a cleanup, and then I figure out like, hey, I actually don't remember why this book was on there, and so I just remove it. Let's see, Ancillary Sword by Anne Leckie. I did not add it as to read, so we will just like lovely, like we'll stay away from it. It's sci-fi, I guess. So the first one is Ancillary Justice, right? So yeah, we'll just steer clear of that for the moment. No needs to add to my TBR. I'm just clearing up the rubble after the Arturian monstrosity. I mean, you deserve a little bit of a break after all the work that went into that. Finished DC Prime 2023, saw a cameo of Coagula, so the Pride anthologies have brought back both Extrano and Coagula as they are 80s and 90s queer characters that were killed off. Yeah, I don't know anything about the comic book universe, sadly. Hello, just getting here reading Honey Girl. Nice. I've heard really good things about that, like a few years back when it just came out. Lots of tea drinking in the ancillary series. Okay. Definitely enjoying it, although I think I love book one a little bit more so far. Yeah. I mean, that's quite frequent, right? For second books to have that sort of like second book syndrome. So for you to like a little bit less, I'm gonna mute myself for a little bit because I need to. You don't need me coughing right into the mic. I listened to Girls Made of Snow and Glass. It's a Snow White retelling with sapphic elements and a feminist twist. Just started. Okay. Is it adults? Is it YA? A sapphic retelling of Snow White. Nice. But it is the big two of comics. Death is but a temporary flesh wounds. Nice. That sounds cool. 2 chapters? How much to go? Will you make it? Because it's tomorrow evening, right? Will you make it in time? I mean, you have a really quick reading pace, so I guess if you've got the time tomorrow, you'll probably manage it, right? Feels so good to delete the Arturian books from my phone and check them off on Goodreads. I can imagine. Must be nice to be like over and done with. What was your favorite meal of? Oh, I mean, I kind of want to say it was the strawberries with chocolate on it, just because those strawberries were so amazing, and you cannot go wrong with that. But like a real full-fledged meal, I mean, we really, really loved the cheese. thingy. But maybe I'm gonna go for like on one of our first nights. We went to a place called Temper, which was not one of our cheaper options, but I one of my colleagues was actually in London at the same time as me. Excellently. I didn't know about it. I just saw him on the train there. And when I've seen him in the meantime, and he told me that like he found London to be such an expensive place, but they had like reservations made for them by somebody who lives there, and like they went to places where there were like signs at the front saying like you needed to pay like £80 a person or something, or otherwise you might as well go home already. Which definitely wasn't the case for us. Our most expensive one was the cheese thingy, so it was basically like a cheese plate going around, and so you would pick up the place that you want. And I don't know, we felt like such aliens in there or something, because so many people were just like in groups of two, the same as us, but they would have like three plates collected next to them. Like, so three cheese plates, but a plate was like this, like not that humongous. It had like one tiny slice of cheese on it, which would be accompanied by like maybe a dollop of some sort of a jam, for example, or like a cookie of something. It would be accompanied by something, but also like a very small portion. So a lot of these people just had like three of these plates next to them. And we at the end stopped when we had like 12 plates accumulated. So in the end, that cost us like somewhere in the €40 each. Which definitely is like an expensive meal, definitely, but not yet to the level that my colleague was talking about. But so the second night, well, I think it was the second night, we went to a place called Temper, which we thought had reasonable prices, except for the fact that the portions were super tiny, but it was amazing. So that was like one of the first pictures I shared, I think, which is like it was a taco which had like a tempura of crab on top of it, um, which was delicious. It was so sad. It was so small. And then we had accompanied it with some sort of like fries dish, and we actually thought that we were gonna go hungry there, because like the taco had been so small, but the fries were really like heavy because they put like so many sauces on it, so that in the end we were fine with just that, with just having like the fries and then those two small tacos each. But it looked like a really nice restaurant, because it was basically a meat restaurant mainly, because it was like a grill restaurant. But I checked the menu out outside and seen that there were things for me as well, but they basically only use like local meats, and they would buy like the entire meats, like the entire animal, and then they would like use that all up. And then so it said like that there was a possibility that certain things would no longer be available if they ran out of the meat, for example, and then they cure the meat there as well, because they had like a big contraption in the middle of the room. You had like the kitchen in the middle of the space, so you could watch them cooking at the same time, which was also always nice to see. And so they had like a big contraption where they could like put the meat into cure it before it would then go on to the grill afterwards. So it seemed like it was like a place that at least like that kind of like specializes in a certain process. And so probably if you have like the grilled meat there, then it would be amazing as well. Like we saw the portions for that, and those were humongous. So like maybe we just made like a sad choice or something like that, but in any case it was delicious, even if it was small. And in the end, as I said, with the fries, it was more than enough. I think it's very satisfying to be able to mark stuff off Goodreads. Yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, I don't know whether it's just human nature that's like nice to tick something off and be like, done with that. At work, I started doing it again this year, where I basically make a to-do list. It's not everything that I do in a day, because a lot of the things that I do in a day in my work just kind of depends on emails coming in and handling those emails, but sort of like the bigger things that I kind of need to remember to do, those I put in like to do boxes. It's also nice to take them off, though it's less satisfying to move them to the next day. It's more YA, I think. It's a backlist book I read. I need for a readathon. Nice. I have 200 pages left. I mean, at your pace, that's gonna be fine, I think. The biggest downside to that with Marvel and DC, they can take away a disability to go back to the way before. Ah, yeah, that is not nice. I do not like that type of trope. I'm now trying to plan my next monstrosity and think about what to read in what order. I have TBRs, so this is tough. I hate TBRs, so this is tough. Yeah, but where do you get your ideas from? Are your ideas just kind of based off of like things you read in books that make you think about certain themes or certain works that you've read in the past, or is it like, I don't know, based on like something outside of books that you want to incorporate into literature? Wait, like a sushi place but with cheese? Yes. I definitely understand the 12 plates. Yeah. And like next to us, there was this American woman sitting and she was on her own and she had like three plates next to her. And then she was like ending the evening. So and then like the person who came to collect the plates and like give the invoice. I cannot speak in normal speech anymore. The check the bill, she like asked her how it had been, what her favorite cheese was, and then she was saying like, "Yeah, I've been preparing to come here for like 6 months. I love it. They were delicious." And I was like, "But you only had three plates. If you're preparing for 6 months to come here, why would you only have six plates?" But I guess if she was on a budget, I understand. Maybe this was just like her dessert. For us, it was like the main course, and then yeah, but like everybody was like that. Everybody was eating like super little, and we were like, sorry, is this because we are Belgians? We are trained to eat cheese or what? All this food talks makes me hungry, and it's too late to get food now. Yeah, I had like only a little bit to eat, kind of, because I went swimming and then I went to the there's like a healthy food bar like by the food maker. I don't know if you guys have that chain in the swimming pool, and so I ate some over there. But I intended to eat something else when I got here, but all I did was eat an ice cream. They did it with Batgirl and Aquaman, but Aquaman, that sounded very Dutch. Aquaman, but with Aquaman I can deal with it because he died and they resurrected resurrected him with his hand back. I mean, sure, I can understand, but I would still absolutely have preferred then if they would resurrect him with the hand, like without the hand, the way that he apparently was before he died. It's one like I really loathe that trope quite a bit, and I cannot say it now without spoilers. But there's a book that we read for the Howling Pack, which this particular thing about a hand was what I absolutely hated about it. Happy munching, happily munching on some cheese here. Enjoy. Oh, we had like one of the cheeses was like it was so amazing. It was like those like long, like it's called a log, I think, in English. So it's like a tube form, like a log form bit of cheese that is like black on the outside or dark on the outside in any case, and has sort of like goat cheese, I would say, probably on the inside. A slice of that on top of a piece of shortbread with some honey over it. Amazing. That was our favorite. We ended up going with like two of those because we wanted to try out as many of them as sounded appealing to us. So we did mainly just try different types of cheeses the entire time. But when that one came back around, we were like, yeah, no, we want this a second time because it was so amazing. Well done, indeed. We celebrate the cheese. Cheese is like amazing. when I heard about this place and I sent it to my friend was like, "Yeah, but aren't you lactose intolerant?" And I was like, yes, but I can take my pills." This is the joy of being lactose intolerant and not allergic, is that I can have lactate and then I can eat cheese without consequences. Also, my lactose intolerance is quite low, I feel like. I feel like it was really high before I figured it out, because for years I was struggling with like stomach issues, which I could deal with. It wasn't like so severe that I couldn't like that I would go to the doctor, for example. I guess maybe somebody else would have gone to the doctor, but I was just like, "Oh, okay, yeah, my stomach isn't really like playing along, but it's fine." But it's just like a nuisance and a discomfort, let's say. But then when I figured out that it might be cheese and I went off of the cheese, then I noticed like a huge improvement. And then every time I took something that had lactose in it, I would immediately have a huge reaction to it, because I guess my system had been kind of like cleansed of it to some extent, or like my system was like, "Hey ho, you now know what the problem is, so don't do it again." But now that I've been off lactose, or mainly off lactose for a while, I can tolerate some lactose to some extent a lot better now, except for sour cream, which is very sad because I love sour cream. I mean, I get it, especially since they gave him a mechanical harpoon hand and later a magical hand made of water, which is just a sci-fi and fantasy version of a prosthetic and way better. Yeah, I love those types of things. I love it when they just incorporate magic to make a magical version of uh, mobility tool. And they can even make them be much better than our current world versions are. That's the fantastical aspect of it, but it still goes to show like how much of an impact a mobility tool can have in the life of somebody with a disability. So I love that aspect. So it's sad then that they take that away, and then because it kind of seems to me like for them that's like, yeah, we're kind of bored of this, or like it served its purpose, but it hasn't like it doesn't stop serving its purpose. The fact that you have this representation needs to be there forever. It doesn't need to be like, oh yeah, like we've examined this storyline now and now we can move on. Like, why would we move on? I know the next project will be the capitalist nightmare of Brandon Sanderson's culture industry, but I need to reschedule the rereads so they match with the filming, cause ADHD brain, yes. So you're gonna reread Branderson's. Sasha always called him Branderson, but so you're gonna reread some of his books for us as well, because I don't know. Do you feel like it's like present in the works itself as well, or is it just mainly like the whole stuff he builds around it? Like the weekly video updates at this point in time, the sort of like yearly, like, what is it, newsletter, or like all of the information he shares online through like Reddit and stuff like that. That's what I mainly think about, but it would be interesting to see whether you link it to the content of the text as well. That's something that I wouldn't immediately see, but would be interesting. I feel like comic superheroes operate under other rules, so magical cures hit differently. What do you mean by that? As in they hit less, like you don't mind them as much in comics, or you do mind them? Mostly Marxist theory, since it's not about the content but the marketing and how it compares to other authors and publishers. Yeah, okay, so indeed what I kind of assumed. This basically is a paper that I had to do at some point in time, but I just didn't know how to do it. So it'll be very happy to see, like, this is what I should have been doing when I had to write that paper. But I basically had to write a paper about how like there were like five Flemish authors that we could choose from, and then you had to like write a paper about how they created their persona and maintained it. But I had like zero idea what I was doing there. So yeah, I don't know why I got points for that, but I also feel like we should have had some more guidance because with a lot of things, I feel like they just kept this like super vague and were like, off you go. Whereas you're like, I've never studied anything like this in my life. How do I know how an author creates a persona, you know? I was visiting Duo and forgot time. Also read 30 pages. Yeah, I will probably do Duo again, like the final minutes of the of the evening. They change canon in comics so often that nothing really matters since it might just change in a year again. Yeah, I don't have much experience with comics in that sense, so indeed I don't experience it like that because I mean there are like maybe two comic series that I'm reading, and they don't have that many volumes in them, like Misty Knight having a bionic arm or Cyborg being a well being a well, it's in the name, yeah. Yeah, indeed, a romance, but I want to do a video on I want to do a video on the content of Sanderson's books and the connection to Mormonism, but that has to be a different one. Yeah, can understand. Someone Else by Laura Kneidl. Ugh, had to answer the a German call yesterday, but I handed it over to my colleague. But in all fairness, I did hear afterwards that her German was really difficult to understand. But I was really like, yeah, I understood that she was talking about a pickup for something, and that was about it. But luckily, my colleague spoke better German than me because in any case, I wouldn't have answered in German because I feel like I had studied like German 1 hour, 1 hour for one like 1 hour a week for 1 year of my school career. And so my German would be an attempt of Germanifying my Dutch, which we don't want to hear. True, they change way too often. Only characters that start off like that, like Cyborg, they will be temporary. Hmm. And then someone with dialect that is mean. I mean, yeah, I was wondering whether this was actually like a Swiss German because I hear that Swiss German is apparently very weird, but I think she was German because they also had the holiday, right? And in Germany, you guys had the holiday on Monday, so because that was what she was talking about. But like I was like, yeah, why am I the one answering this? Because sure, I can kind of understand the conversations of my German colleagues when they're talking amongst themselves, but not to the extent that I understand everything. I just make connections between a word here and there. But so it is time to do another reading sprint, or otherwise we will not make it before midnight. So let's do another reading sprint of 40 minutes and then we'll just like round it off a little bit, and go to bed around midnight. So see you guys in 40. All right. I was no longer being productive in the final 8 minutes of that. And I think I need to abandon my cycle trip tomorrow because I looked for my camelback and I do have the camelback. I just don't have the tubing that connects to it. Don't know where it is. So I probably won't be looking for it at this point in time. So unless I find it early next morning, I have a decent excuse on top of the 20 other excuses that I reasonably can make not to bicycle for 20 kilometers in 30 degrees heat twice. So, yeah, probably not gonna happen. Eh, wait. That I already read. Yeah, but it's like very close to German, right? Or like that's always how I understood it. It's like understandable, but it's like different still. So that, for some of my colleagues who do the backup for Germany, but who don't, like, who are native speakers of German, it's quite difficult. Good night then. I'm heading to bed. So yeah, I already responded to that because I saw that comments come in when sprints were starting. Sure, it's weird. Just you try to talk to people from Herborn. I don't know. They have a strong dialect or accents. Night, night. And also, Josephine finished her book. Oh no, not finished her book. Finishing my book today, not gonna happen. Very sleepy. Thanks for the sprints and good night, everybody. See you soon. Yeah, I get that. Like in London, as I said, like some days I would just read like 3 pages and that would be it. Part of it is also that we were reading in the bed. I cannot read in bed. I used to be able to, but now I just instantly fall asleep. 28 pages and crossed the halfway point. Also dozing off, so a good place to stop. Thanks for the sprints. Yeah, I'm also not gonna make this a very long after chatty bit because I am also very, very tired. So I'll also be um, going to bed soon. Though I'm still part thinking about going on the cycle trip because I'm still in part thinking that I should go downstairs, get the battery so that it can charge. Maybe I'll just do it in the morning, which does sound like a horrible idea. 15 pages and showered. Yes, scroll through Instagram and looked for an audiobook to start that also fulfills some prompts for a reading challenge. Yeah, those can be difficult sometimes when they're like really specific and you don't really have anything like on hands that immediately fills it. I remember for Magical Readathon, I had like the prompt to read a book with a wolf on the cover, and then I also had to read some sort of like super random book for it, just because I didn't have anything that fulfilled that prompt, except for maybe like one thing, but it was like super big book that I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to be using that. But hopefully you'll find something soon that can help you fulfill those prompts, and like something short. But if you want help, you can definitely also let us know what the prompt is, and maybe we can give you some suggestions for it. I am on page 284 at this point in time. I started somewhere in the 230, so we got some like 45 probably pages in during these sprints, which could have done better, but that is more or less the max. That's more or less more than I've been reading on a single day for the past few, well, for every day in June so far. So I'm gonna count it as a win. And yeah, if I start these sprints earlier, I might have gotten more done, but let's ease into it again. But so I think I'm going to be rounding things off here. Thank you guys for joining me for these very last minute, unannounced, impromptu reading sprints. And normally they will just be back on Thursday as for regular scheduling next week. And then they will once again be in the regular format of doing 2 hours of reading across 3 hours spent together. But so have a lovely weekend, everybody, for those living in this heat. hang in there. We will hopefully get through this quickly. And yeah, enjoy the rest. Wait, I see the comment come in now. Looking for a romance with opposites attract or indie or a literary fiction, I guess, with multiple point of views. A literary fiction with multiple point of views. I'm gonna be thinking there of what's the name? The Island of Missing Trees by Alicia Fack. I mean, I of course don't know whether the audiobook is available to you. That's like the first thing that pops into mind for me for a multi POV literary fiction. Um, Romance with opposites attract or an indie. I don't know. Like, I've read a lot of historical romance in my days, but I cannot distinguish one from the other. I think one I enjoyed in terms of historical romance is Dreaming of You by Lisa Kleypas. But in terms of any other romances with opposites attract, I mean Pride and Prejudice, but they're actually not opposites. So no, I don't know whether I can help you more with those. With romance, I'm really not that not that well versed in it. Literary fiction, I did really like The Island of Missing Trees, and I think another one with multiple. Alicia Fack has multiple books with multiple perspectives, and The Bastard of Istanbul is another one of hers. So those are my recommendations, but I don't know whether you have access to the audios. But so yeah, thank you guys for joining me and see you guys for the next one on Thursday. Bye.